Hey everybody, do y'all like my sweatshirt? I know this is so unrelated, but like it's totally related because I want to talk about it. I love this sweatshirt. My bestie got me this. So, long time, no talk. I wanted to come on here because I just did a client's makeup, okay? And like they're like honestly a friend, but I'm really obsessed with it, so I just want to show you guys how I got the look because I feel like it's a look that looks difficult, but it's not. Like, there's some steps, but they're pretty simple. Also, if I sound sick, you're correct. I am coming over a bad sickness. I know I sound a little nasally. If that's really annoying to you, I'm sorry. I can't do nothing. So we just gonna tough it out, okay? If I had to call it a look, to be honest, I feel like this is clean girl, but you make it glam. And the goal today is to keep my sweatshirt from getting disgusting because I love it too much for that to happen. I like to do eyes first, so I'm gonna go in with some concealer as my base, a little bit of my like summer shade, and I'm mixing it with my current shade, and I'm adding a little dot so you can see it's just, we're gonna mix this, okay? But then I'm gonna leave this little bit by itself. Just mixing this together. What I'm gonna do is I'm taking the lighter shade here and I'm gonna put this on my inner part of my lid. And the reason why is because I'm actually trying to do this really bright inner corner moment, and instead of me worrying about having to cake on like a lot of eyeshadow, like that's really light, like a white eyeshadow or something, I feel like you can get it through this way as well. So it's kind of messy because I'm not really too worried about it right now. I am gonna be in a minute because this one does set pretty fast. So, and I actually am gonna clean up a little bit underneath my brow to kind of make it crisp. Throw back to like 2014 brows. You can take your sponge, ideally damp, and I'm gonna pat this out. And you can see I went about halfway on my lid. Okay, so you can see that I brought it about halfway on my lid and it's pretty much set, honestly. And then I'm gonna take the tanner part, actually, okay, so I messed up. If you do use the same products as me, this already set on the back of my hand. You gotta work a little faster. I'm remixing this. So this one you can see matches my skin tone a little better, and I'm just going to put it on this outer part of my eye, and it kind of does a built-in moment of like a transition, if that makes sense. I'll add a little bit more. And also, if this is just kind of like, okay, you lost me here, honestly, just go in with your concealer that is the color of your skin, and then go in with a lighter shade on the inner corner with your sponge. You'll still get that diffused look because you're using a sponge. Okay, so you can probably see it. This is just slightly a little lighter than the outside of my eye. And I like to do this because it's just going to create kind of like a base for us. So once we get here, this is when I say to take a shade that is a smidge darker than you. Not by much. You can use either a bronzer or you can use an eyeshadow shade if you have it. Like for example, Tusk right here in this palette is really good for me. How far out am I? Did it zoom me out? Taking some kind of like blending brush like this, you can make a fluffier one or not depending on your eye shape. I'm gonna use this one because it's a little bit like flat on the sides. It's not super fluffy. And I'm gonna take a little bit of this, tap it off, and focus it on my outer part of my eyeball. So not the crease, just the eyeball. And I'm doing little circles. Preferably, I like to do circles going toward my temple, not toward my eye, like the inner corner. because I feel like it'll go ahead and start creating the shape that I'm kind of looking for. And you just build it up. So with this, you can kind of take a little bit on your brush and you can tap it if you'd like. And if you tap, I try to keep the color the closest to my lash line. So then I have like a gradient of the smokiness and it's not getting away from me to where then I start to look muddy. Because that's usually the first mistake that happens when it comes to doing eyeshadows. So then once I get it kind of blended, my circles get a little bigger. I'm starting to touch my crease, which mine, I have more, I think I have deep set eyes. So for me, it's my brow bone. But when you open your eyes and you see where your kind of crease happens, that's where you can start to bring it up. And the reason why I start down here and then bring it out is because the amount of pigment you have on your brush at the beginning is going to be the most pigment, right? So if you're gonna start, you might as well start closer to the lash line where it's more pleasing to see the depth here versus up here, and it gives you that more smoky effect. So whatever's left on my brush is what I take here, and I'm not going very far. I'm going probably about like a 3/4 of the way in my crease, as you can see, because I basically am trying to keep this bright, so I'm not touching it. And if I do decide to go back in and add a little bit more, I can, but I'm not going to do that right now because you can make that executive decision later. But you can see I'm getting this really pretty soft gradient. I love this shade. I really didn't think this shade was gonna look like that when I first got this palette. I thought it was gonna be like more lighter, and I thought it was gonna look really nice for like brightening my inner corner. Clearly not when I'm this shade, but when I'm this shade, that is a really pretty shadow. You can't tell me nothing. It's pretty. Anyway, when I do this, I'm taking a little bit. You can tap it close to your lash line on the outer third of your actual eyelid. You can blend it out, preferably toward your temple. And since I'm right-handed, my left side is a little weird, I'm not gonna lie. I really wish this brush was softer though. It is so scratchy. Do you guys have a brush like that? Like, I don't know. I think this is supposed to be a real hair brush. I don't know. It's like the Jaclyn Hill Morphe brush. I think I got it like at Marshall's or something. And it is scratchy. Like, it's giving Scrub Daddy a run for its money. But anyway, you're just gonna blend this up to your outer crease. And then, I mean, you can go inward too. Like, I don't know. I like them to originally just start going toward the temple, because I'm sure you're like, Vivian, I clocked it. I saw you. You went inward. You can go inward. It's not the end of the world. But I feel like when I'm trying to do that elongated effect on the eye, I want to blend toward my temple. And if I'm looking for something more doughy, more round-eyed effect, then I blend in. But once you basically get your like direction going, then you can kind of go back and forth. I don't know. I'm over explaining it probably, but I feel like somebody's gonna be like, clock it. Have y'all seen that person on TikTok? Oh my gosh. They're hilarious. They're like a customer service rep, like in a cubicle, and they just answer phone calls all day. They are hilarious. And they've got one character, like, all she does is go, clock it. My boyfriend and I went down like a rabbit hole for probably like 2 hours watching it. Okay. So then, once you get to this point, you can soften the tip of the eyeshadow if you really want to, but that's if you have seriously nothing left on your brush, okay? We are not going in and doing another dip, because then we're gonna ruin all of this hard work we have done. And I'm telling you, this look is super easy. It's just, You gotta have patience. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, if you want your eye makeup to look good, you need to have patience. Unless it's seriously a one and done, but those are a different situation. I'm gonna go in with a smaller blending brush now, so you can kind of see. It's not that big compared to my eye. It's kind of, oh God. I swear that brush exfoliates my eyes. So you can see that this isn't too big, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going in with a deeper shade. So I wanna have a smaller brush so I have more control. Okay, let me not, oh, I'm trying to shop. Okay. Anyway, so I'm gonna go in with my Soft Glam palette, and I'm only going in because I really just want these 3 shades. They're pretty much really common eyeshadows that you can find in like any palette, to be honest. If you find like an everyday palette, Rustic, Cypress Umber, and Noir, you don't really have to use Noir, that's optional. It's more of Rustic and Cypress Umber. And they're basically just 2 different tones of brown, you know? So we're going to take this palette, and I'm gonna take Rustic onto my brush, you can see, and I'm just going to focus it again on this lower part of my lash line, and this one's much softer and kinder to me, and I'm doing again toward my temple. This is honestly, you're gonna do the exact same steps for everything, it's just gonna be more localized. So I'm gonna kind of do this. I'm going a little back and forth because I want to create a little bit of that wingish look, which you don't have to. And I actually will even keep my eye open sometimes because it kind of gives me an idea of where the colors go in as I apply it. So you can see this one's much darker, but that's okay. Ooh, that look was pretty. Sorry, I'm just admiring it again. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, I didn't take it super far. So still with the Rustic, I'm going in with a little bit, and I'm just taking my time. I am literally like making little circles that are slightly, okay, so when you're writing and you write the lowercase I, like, yeah, like basically think of that big of a swirl. And then, you know, you can go slightly bigger. I would go maybe a smidge bigger depending on your eye shape. But kind of to give you an idea of like, well, how big are the circles, Vivian? Oh, that's so pretty. Look at that. Pretty. You can stop here if you want, but since I'll go ahead and add a little extra drama, I'm gonna go a little more with it. But you see, like, okay, you can't see it, but like I'm literally just doing a dip and shake, one shake, and then I'm just building it. Like, you do not have to go crazy at all. Look at that. That is called control. We need it. Look how pretty. We haven't even done mascara. Like, 2 shades, y'all, 2 shades. What I would do is I want to take a skinnier brush. So I'm actually going to take this guy right here. And this is extra credit. So you could go in with the Cypress Umber. Top it off. And I'm just going to do a little lining right here on it, and it's just to line. See how that gave me like a little bit of drama? Like, this is great by itself. Granted, I don't have any other makeup on, so since we're doing eyeshadow before makeup, typically when you go to put your eyeshadow on or your makeup, like your base makeup on afterward, it's gonna look softer. This will all look softer. Now granted, if you're gonna keep your skin pretty minimal, then this is a good reference of what it's gonna look like. But I'm just gonna take a little and line the like outer third of my eye, just to give that base of the brown a little bit more oomph. And you can take this like into a little bit of your outer crease if you really want to, unless you want to just keep that smoky kind of wing. I personally like the little smoky wing. And then you can clean this up with some lotion or makeup remover, which I think I'm actually gonna do because that's what we did for the look, even though this still looks great by itself. So it just depends. So what I'm doing now is, you saw that I took the brush, I flipped the angle, and I'm not going for precision, I'm going for placement. So I'm taking whatever's left on my brush to kind of make a little bit of a wing. And this is just gonna add a bit of depth to that wing part. So one dip into the cypress, just taking this, keeping it at the base, and then this is my tricky eye, I already mentioned that. So I'm sorry, I can't talk through it because I kind of have to fix it. I'm just gonna go in with this other brush to blend that out a little. And it doesn't have any product on it. Yeah, that's a little more wingy than the other side, so I'll try to get them to match. Same concept like when you're using regular liner, like one wing ends up looking slightly different from the other, and then you go back and forth. It's a vicious cycle. I'm not too worried about making them perfect, but similar enough. So once you get to this point, then I would take like a Q-tip, which I think I have one over here. Yeah. And you can either take a lotion or you can take makeup remover, whatever you want. I'm just dipping it into that lotion. And if it's already pointed, awesome. That'll make your life easier. And I got the shape pretty well, but it's my own eye, so I'm a little familiar with it. But I'm just taking small little tugs to pull and clean up the edge. And honestly, I really recommend you to like look forward in a mirror and do this. It's so much easier than trying to guess with your eye closed. And it's better to take off little and then take off more versus too much at once. So as I'm looking, I'm kind of like, for me personally, I like when this connects with a little bit of my lower lash, so I'm not trying to cut that off. And then I have it just kind of going toward my temple. So you can kind of see it, hopefully. And then I'm just gonna take a little bit more lotion and do it on the other eye. This is when it really does start to matter when you're removing the eyeshadow, that you don't want this one too high up and this one more pointed down. It's just gonna make things a little bit more difficult. So I feel like this is a pretty good shape for me. And you can use concealer to like clean this up. It depends on how sharp you want it to be. Little trick, if you take your eyeshadow brush, no extra product on it, this is the one we did the liner with, and lightly, like barely touching the skin, I'll take it and try to add whatever's left to finish and add a little depth to the end of the wing. Especially when you're doing like these soft smoky kind of looks. I almost take the tip, like this part, and have that be the only thing that touches it. I'm taking like the tip. And see how that just gave me a little extra smoke? And now they're looking a little more similar. Because sometimes like I take the brown and it's a little too low, and then my dark color kind of looks like it just appeared on one side. So that's a good little trick to try to bring it back. But anyway, so this is kind of how it looks, which I think is pretty darn close. Yeah. And then if you wanted extra brightness, okay, if you wanted more, you wanted to really do that white inner corner kind of moment, then I'm gonna take a white eyeshadow. You can even use like the Charlotte Tilbury Fair. This is what I used on the client. And I'm gonna take this lighter one because I am fairer. So on them, that looked good. It was like a bone white. That looked really good on them. But for me, I am practically bone white. So I need something that, excuse me, is a little lighter. I need snow. I need snow white. I don't need bone white. Okay, so on an eyeshadow brush, this one's just kind of like, you know, a little fluffy. It's a little big. Depends on your eye shape, what you need. And I'm just gonna tap this. Oh, I forgot. Oh, this palette, y'all, even with my stuffy nose, I could still smell it. It smells like chocolate. It's like when Too Faced used to make their chocolate palettes. What happened? You know, what happened to them? But anyway, you're gonna use this as your brightener. Kind of like where my inner corner is, and I'm bringing it up a little bit. And whatever's left, I'll tap moving toward the center. So you can see how it just gave a little extra brightness for me. On them, I did a lot more brightening. Like I brought it up to here, and I brought it basically like right under the eyebrow and into the crease, which I still think looks really good. But I'm trying to keep it away from this area and where this natural fade is happening, because I worked really hard on that. I don't want to make it like disappear. Why would I do that? So I'm going to pat it. If you did though, go back in with your brushes, like specifically the first transition shade that I used, and try to, without any extra product, bring a little bit of it back by like kind of swirling it back and forth, like right here, to try to bring back that fade. Because I feel like that shows more skill and makes an overall better effect on your eye makeup than you think. And there you go. So that's essentially eyes. So the rest is going to be the actual base makeup. Take a brush. You can use a sponge as well, but I'm just going to take a brush and I'm going to apply this to my face. Now, if you really needed it to last longer, I would do some sort of primer. Next, I like to do bronzer. Anyway, so I'm taking a little bit of this guy, and I'm gonna take a, and by the way, if you're fair, this one's actually kind of nice. It's the Golden Sun Sun Sculpt Liquid Contour from Glam. I know there's like controversy or whatever with it, but I bought it a long time ago and I'm not gonna let it go to waste. So I use that one, or even the CoverGirl concealer. This one in the shade Buff Beige is actually a nice primer, or not primer, bronzer that one will give you coverage, but two isn't too oily, or not oily, orange. And I take a little bit, not a lot. I don't go in and I swipe stripes on me. That's more for content. People try to do it to catch your eye, but for the everyday, it's typically not the best technique to try to do your everyday makeup with. Unless you have time to sit there and blend and tone it down. And you can see it's giving me back a little bit of color, but it's not orange, it's not too dark, anything like that. I still have this much on the back of my hand. I'm taking just a little bit. Less is more, y'all. Less is more. So a little bit, and I know it's mostly concentrated up here. So with my face, I'm just gonna kind of pat it, see where I put it. And I like this way better instead of a sponge because I can be more precise. So taking a little bit here, and honestly, I found that this usually looks a little bit better on my face when I only go this far. Kind of up to you. And I'm patting, I'm not swiping. Swipe or no swiping. Yeah, okay, funny thing. See how where I put it, this side of my face, I feel like looks a little more dragged down versus this side looks a little more lifted. Placement is everything, okay? So the way I put this on, I'm actually gonna like kind of blend it upward, like tapping upward versus downward, because it's gonna actually give me cheekbones, because your girl ain't got any. This is just a little bonus lesson today. I typically will do this actually underneath my foundation, so it's like super natural, but there's a way to do this on top of the skin. I'm taking a fluffy blending brush and I'm taking just the tiniest bit, like the tiniest, and I'm actually just kind of working it into the remainder of the product I've spread out, so I literally don't have a whole lot on here. And I'm gonna shape my nose a little bit. And I just do up and down motions, and then I'll do the circles, but when I do, I'm doing them toward my temple because I'm blending it down a little bit, so it's creating like a shadow going down, not up toward my nose to make it look skinny. I'm like trying to push back basically this part of my bridge. But you can see it's just a little bit, and then you could take whatever's left and kind of connect it to your brow. I've seen people do that and it looks really, really pretty on them. But I kind of have tried it out and I've seen what works and doesn't work for me. So I typically start like, I have a little bump here on my nose bridge. I kind of just start basically in the middle, but I use that as my landmark. And I'll go about this far, and then I start to kind of spread it out. But already it looks, my nose looks smaller, which I don't really care about like my nose looking smaller. I just want to like actually just bring a little bit of shape to it, because you saw before it was just blank in the center, and I just want a little shape. And then whatever's left, just kind of work it there. And then you can take a little underneath your nose, and you can contour, like you can make your nose look more small by like going up a little higher on the bottom. But like I said, I like my nose. I used to not, but I do now. You just have a little bit of structure, right? So now what you can do is, if you feel like it's too heavy, take whatever's left on your foundation brush, tap it. Tap it down. And see how it like gave just a little bit, like it gave a little bit of shape. I'm just taking whatever's left and I'm bringing it back just a little bit. I blended it out too much because I couldn't see it. But see how it just gave a little bit of shape? Now I'll show you the next step that we did on my client that, again, for a glam look, this looks good. But you could stop here if you want to. Take mostly right here on my inner corners, and then I kind of will make a bit of a line up to it. So this is essentially like, you know when you heard people say like reverse contouring, but it's like, what the heck is reverse contouring? Reverse contouring is essentially like the underpainting method, but I look at this as truly reverse contouring because usually you use the darker shades to try to actually bring the contour, but instead you're using the highlighter to create the contour, if that makes sense. I don't know, but I like this method. I'll put a little bit right here, and then I'm just gonna blend. as you kind of bring it down, you see how I kind of will bring it down the sides of my nostril. This is what you would typically do like when you underpaint. But I've done it on top of makeup before too, and I thought it was completely fine. And then you just kind of want to blend out that edge though, so that's when I kind of do a little bit of a buffing moment. And then, especially when it comes to this area, we just want to be a little careful. We don't want to mess up the wing. So you could take it as close as you can. And then if you have a flat edge brush to clean it up underneath, which I don't know if I do. Then you could take like a little bit on some sort of flat brush. And like the lightest hand, like you are barely touching skin, okay? And then you kind of pull it out. And then I just blend it out with my finger on the end, depending on how you want it to look. Perfect, like that. Look how crisp. You can take your brightening concealer in these areas, whoopsies, and just kind of blend it out. So I used Hope on them from Rare Beauty, and I just think it looks so pretty on a lot of skin tones. And I'm just gonna take this brush here, and I'm taking a little bit on my hand. I'm not going in directly on the face, not at all, absolutely not. Jail. And so then I'm taking a little bit, working it into the brush. And then for my face, I like my blush to kind of start here. So I'll just tap it in, and I'm letting my blush have its moment, okay? I don't want it blending too much into my bronzer where it just looks like one color, you know? Because blush can definitely overtake, but this gives me the ability to build it up like in time versus, oh, it's too heavy, now I have to troubleshoot it. And then I'm just gonna take the rest on this side and blend and blend and blend. You see the blush, you see the bronzer, they melt in the middle, but they have their moment. And I personally like to put blush across my nose because I already know that I want more color to the center of my face, and this is a great way to do it and create cohesiveness. When it comes to the lower eye, it's kind of optional if you just want to keep it bright, or if you do want a little eyeshadow underneath. I don't think I did on my client. I don't think we did do eyeshadow on her lower eye, but I'm gonna show you what it would look like if you did. So I'm just gonna take, I'll probably just take the Tusk shade, just because it's the lightest one. And I'm just taking it on like a little pencil brush here, okay? Tap it off, and then you can see where this is like connecting. I'm almost tapping it because I don't want to spread it too far. But I like to focus it on like the outer third. So when you're looking straight and you see like the, what's it called? The iris? Is that it? The iris of your eye? I like to stop it there. And then I just kind of will smudge it. And that's how you can kind of create this soft wing. Because I have dry skin and I really do love a glow, I'm gonna take a little bit of cream highlighter. This is the Auric one. And I'm just going to take this brush. I'm just gonna work it in. And then gonna tap it just on this high point. So I saw this TikTok, this makeup artist, she's like a professional makeup artist that does like celebrity work and stuff. She's been in the game for a while. Cannot remember her name. I cannot. But she has a technique called the Halo Glow technique or something. So that is how I highlight my face now, and it's a game changer. So I'm not doing the stripe. I'm literally just focusing it right here on my face. And I'm taking a little bit because you can see it's giving me a little highlight here. Now I'm going to go right above like the arch of my brow. Add some there. And you can kind of build this up, but I'm doing a light bit of it first. So I'm taking that, right? And this is a matte eye look, but I am going to do like a little underneath. Powder as you need. For me, I have dry skin. I don't typically need to powder like everywhere, but if I needed to, I would take a fluffy brush. Gonna work my setting powder into my brush, and I would just do a little dusting all over. You can use whatever powder works best for you. The Huda, for like oily skin, or One Size, or really whatever. If I'm gonna set my whole face, I just use some sort of translucent powder that's gonna work for me, and I'll put it all over, but I kind of avoid the areas that I just highlighted somewhat. So like specifically here, I'll kind of avoid that. So I keep the shine, but like overall, I still have some luminosity going on, but now my face is set. This is where it gets fast. Now we're just gonna go in with our bronzer and blush. I'm taking this Milani bronzer because it matches my skin really well. So then for this is a beautiful blush. I'm not even joking. But I'm just gonna take a little and just dust it on, and I'm just reinforcing like those like spots I did the highlight last time. Went with just some Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. Melt all that together. So I'm taking the shade NYX, or the NYX Brown liner, that's the shade. I am fairer, so we're gonna see how this looks on me. Okay, so you kind of see how the color's looking. Then, oh, my lash is already drying. Okay, well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do this one then. I'm gonna hop back to my eyelashes real quick. So basically, I will take like a little mascara at the base of my eyelashes to kind of, you know, blend them a little bit. You don't have to do this. You could do this second if you want. Then I like to take a curler, especially like this. If you have something that fits you already really well, then by all means go ahead and use it. But this helps make the lash and your natural lash squeeze together, because in my opinion, the mascara acts like a little bit like glue to gently hold them together. And it just like makes it shape better overall to your eye. So it looks less like, okay, who's wearing who. I'm going in with Honey Love from MAC, and I'm going to pat this on the center. I'm not gonna swipe it. I'm patting because it's gonna give me a softer color payoff, and I feel like it makes this blend better. Then we're gonna take some spiked toffee, and I'm gonna wipe off like a good bit of it, to be honest, and I'm going to focus it in the center. Bye bye dry lips. And the reason why I wipe it off is so I have less pigment, so it doesn't like overrun the entire look. Alright guys, so this is the final look, and I'm gonna bring you in real quick just so you can kind of see it up close. So this is everything all together. I feel like it's a really pretty, like this is great for any special occasion. You know, it's soft, it's pretty, it's kind of angelic in a way. Yeah. But yeah, so let me know what you think. I hope this was helpful for you. I had a lot of fun actually recreating this. I have been feeling really antsy and just wanted to finally do something other than just being sick and laying around. So this was a fun little escape for me. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Let me know what you want to do next. Like, do we want to do another makeup look? Do you want me to shop my stash? Do you want to do a get ready with me? What do we want to do? What do we want to do? Anywho, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in my next video.